Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Music, Spirit and Accountability. Today we're talking about pushing versus playing and this life balance. Mike, I'm going to hand it over straight to you today, mate, because I know you're taking a bit of downtime, gone over to another island, Koh Samui, today for a bit of downtime. And you were mentioning before how sometimes you can see the signs of when you're leaning into pushing harder than you would necessarily like to. Just putting that out there for you, brother. Share that with us because I'm sure we can all relate.
Yeah, but I love it. Like, it's a wound of mine,
Hmm.
and I know where it comes from. It's my childhood, but I'm also addicted to it. And in the past, I would work really hard, and then it would gather momentum, and then I'd feel better, and then I'd gather more momentum, and I felt even better. And I got to the point where I thought I'm invincible, I'm untouchable, I can't do anything wrong. And what I didn't realize was, yeah, initially that was cool. But the more and more I fed that beast, it was like, God, I must be doing so well and everything must be working.
Yeah.
I'd push harder and harder and harder. And what I didn't realize, it was my nervous system shitting itself,
Yeah.
right? And then when people die, their body pushes adrenaline through their body as a last minute ditched hope to try and get them to a safety point so that they can get help.
Mm.
And I didn't realize this until I had chronic fatigue just about every year or broke down and couldn't work. And it just pushed myself so far. But I did it in every area. Like how you do it, one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And I know there'll be people that want to argue that, but to a degree, that's true. And I would do it in cycling, I would do it in weightlifting, I would do it in work, I would do it with my family, I would do it with my relationships. I would push and push and push and push. And, now that I know it, it's from the wound of not good enough, right? I'm
And what's
wounded by
been
the
the long-term result of that?
annual chronic fatigue,
Mm.
to which took me about 7 years to, I don't know if I'm fully recovered from it.
Hmm.
I don't know. I really don't know. I feel good generally most times but I believe pushing yourself so far for so long. There was about I worked three jobs from the age of 14,
Mm.
all the way till 43 when I finally cracked.
So high.
And yeah, everyone,
Yeah.
right? Like it's the badge of honor is the harder work, the better
Yeah.
I am. Um, so yeah, these days now I get this intoxicating feeling of the rush of doing well.
Mm.
And my work then gets my eyes get wider. They become like dinner plates. They go from sources to dinner plates, and I get excited and I get more motivated and I get more hungry, and it feels really good. It feels very alivening. I think I said to you a month ago, I've never been more alive, Jay. I've
Yeah.
never been more alive. I remember saying it, and I said it a few times. So I didn't catch it at this point. I thought, no, this is like I'm on purpose and everything's working and I'm in alignment and I've got the Midas touch.
Yeah.
And now I realize, and I remember that from my cycling days, it gave me a really beautiful, when my body actually properly taps out.
Yeah.
I've probably done 180 Ks in 38-degree heat and all of it at full throttle. And my eyes started to narrow down into singular like lane. I lost focus. I'm on the bike at 40 k's an hour with cars all around me, losing sight, thinking I'm in the zone. That's what I was thinking, right?
It's
And
cold.
my was starting to shut down, and something just said, like, I got this big push and urge in my body. I was like, I'm on fire. Something that thankfully said, just stop and get something to drink for the way home. I think I had about 60 k's to get home. And by that point, I was delirious. Like I had, I think, saliva and salt dripping off my face. I
Mm.
was mildly crazed. I staggered into a 7-Eleven, and the guys just looked at me, and I walked straight to the fridge and started drinking Gatorades, and I drank a Coca-Cola, and I got four snakes and all the bars and all the sugar I could. And the guy's just looking at me, and I'm like, I'm good, I'll pay, but just need to eat right now. And I sat outside for 10 minutes and allowed the sugar to get into my body and the fuel to get into my body and sort of balance me out. I don't know what's in Coca-Cola, but it's not legal because
Yeah.
that got me home. And I thought, "Shit, I got about 40 minutes to get home. Otherwise, I don't get a second go at this." And all of the sugar and the caffeine and everything gave me a second burst. But I realized when my body was feeling so euphoric, it was on the
Yeah.
precipice of shutting down.
So
And
what
so
happened then? What happened when you got home?
I rode home like a demon. Like
Mm.
it was like I had all my adrenaline, I had all of the caffeine. Whatever was in Coke, it revives the dead. It does. It really does.
Yeah.
I was in a really bad way, but I was really sick after that. Like because I'd pushed so far into the red zone,
Yeah.
tapped out basically twice. I remember getting to my home street thinking, I've got enough to just almost roll home, but just keep pedaling just in case, like, because you might not make it. And if you don't make the stairs, you're not going to get in the house. It
Yeah.
was really that bad. It was
Wow.
on that sort of
Wow.
call an ambulance kind of level. But I thought that was cool back
Hmm.
then. I thought that was cool, and I was killing myself. And so these days, when I get that feeling of the inertia of like adrenaline and everything feels good, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, it is a warning sign.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why I literally overnight made a decision, pulled the pin, got on the ferry, and came to a different island. And after this podcast, I'll turn my phone and laptop off for 7 days.
So you've come for a week of detox of technology, basically, been kind enough to make the time to chat with us today, and yeah, that must feel good. It's really inspiring. I mean, I've got Fiji coming up in about 2.5 weeks, and the first 10 days of that will be an unplug, regroup, unplug, and then going to start work for the first time ever at the block in Fiji. Finally get the Starlink. I got the delivery notification. It's on the way right now. It's on the way to the block, so that's really exciting.
Thanks, mate. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I can't wait. So, this balance of pushing versus playing, it's such a thing, and obviously we love pushing, we love playing too. It's finding that balance. So, learning the hard way. At what point did you burn out, and what was the thing that happened? Like, what was the catalyst moment where you kind of lost it all?
Well, literally, I lost it all. That was it.
Okay.
Like,
And when you say
as you were
all, what do you mean?
leading into that, I'm like, this isn't a fond memory, Jay.
Okay.
This
Okay.
is, yeah, no, that was a big, big loss. I
So we're
lost my
talking money,
marriage,
relationships, everything.
money, properties,
Hmm.
businesses, myself. There, definitely lost myself. I ended up
And
having a
when you say
3 year.
yourself, what do you mean by that?
I definitely lost myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know I had identified with all of these things that were no longer in my space anymore.
Hmm.
Um, it was a deep, dark death. I had to spend 3 years rediscovering who I was and where I fit in this world, and came
Yeah.
out a very different version.
Yeah.
And fortunate I could have a 3 year sabbatical to do that. But the physical toll probably took 7 to 8 years
Wow.
to recover from. I couldn't push in the gym like I used to. I had no desire to. I had no fuel left in the tank.
Yeah.
And psychologically, that was challenging. Mentally, physically, that was challenging. I'd never slept more because I had this badge of honor that there was times that I'd go to bed at midnight and wake up at 2:30
Yeah.
because I thought that was what I needed to do to get ahead.
Yeah.
And yeah, I reckon I've spent the next 7 years trying to catch up. You never catch up right on sleep debt. I did the
Yeah.
research. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
Like you miss a night of sleep, you can't sleep 12 hours the next night and make up for it. It's
Yeah.
just debt
Just gone.
and gone. And so
Yeah.
I spend the next 7 or 8 years, no alarm.
Yeah.
Just let my body wake up when it needs to wake up.
Wow.
I needed that time to recover. So it wasn't, it wasn't a fond memory, but I'm so grateful for it because I remember sitting with the doctor and I said, I was not doing well. I was taking every stimulant under the sun
Yeah.
to stay awake and work harder. 7 coffees a day as a minimum. I was
Wow.
taking things like ethanol to be more deeper focused, work harder, not eat. And I remember saying to the doctor, she's looking, my blood pressure was 160 over what did I get up to? 160 over 120. She goes, I should put you in hospital right now. That's where you're at. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, but I've got to go back to work, so I'll catch up on that later on.
Yeah.
You know, and she said you should be in hospital. That's not a healthy state. I'm
Mm.
like, I've had a few coffees today, and I would downplay it. And yeah, like and I said to her, but this sleep thing, like, is this 6 hours really a thing? And she goes, no, it's not. It's 8 hours, and it's a thing. And I'm like, what about for me though? Is it like, it's different for me, right? Like I don't have to do the 8. That's for everyone else. She
Yeah.
goes, no, it's a thing and it's for everyone. And it's only now the likes of Tony Robbins has come out and said, oh my God, I got this so wrong. And all of us who used to wear that badge of honor of like,
Yeah.
I don't need to sleep. Like I remember I went through that period where I didn't sleep at all.
Yeah.
I did 20-minute micro naps throughout the day, every 4 hours.
Yeah.
That was like, so wipe out the night and just sleep for 20 minutes every 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's not optimization. It's
Yeah.
death.
It's that, and I can really relate to that. I've done a lot of those techniques throughout my life at different points in time, and yeah, those statistics. I was just chatting with Paul Sidorovsky a few weeks back, who works directly with Tony Robbins these days, and he was just talking about the latest stats on sleep, and him and Tony studying everything, and 8 hours. Anything below that is having detrimental effect on your health. So
Oh, it's not only your health, it goes as far as your logical thinking, critical thinking,
yeah,
your rational decision making goes out the
yeah,
window,
everything.
even at 6.
Yeah,
You know, I
yeah,
even read this study last week. I wasn't looking for it, I just stumbled across it. And they were talking about sleeping with your partner. And I've battled with this one for many years because I love the partner I'm with. I love having them close, and
yeah,
I love squashing them and putting my 100 kilos all over and killing them.
mm.
But it's with love,
With love.
and I love having them close. But the study was showing that people who were tested believed that they slept better with their partner. And they said, no, 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 if I'm not with my partner, I sleep worse.
Mm.
And when they studied it, they actually sleep much better without their partner.
Without, yeah,
Yeah, because there's not these micro disruptions, the turning
yeah,
over, the tossing, the too hot, all of the things. The accumulative effect on that, they were saying, is, it's like making a 20-year-old, young 20-year-old guy. He's strong, he's virile, he's agile. Take him down to 5 hours sleep a night and he's useless.
yeah,
And so everyone else who's not 20 years old with all that youthful enthusiasm is trying to run around on a depleted energy tank.
yeah.
And I'm not suggesting to anyone to, start sleeping in separate rooms, because I'm going to struggle with that.
Mm.
I love the closeness. I love it. It's my thing, and it's, I did it with my kids. I loved hugging my kids into sleep, and my partner still. So
Yeah,
I'm not suggesting, choose your own flavor on that one, but the data is what
yeah,
shows is you actually sleep better. And you got to look at that and say, well, if I'm sleeping better, would I be showing up better for my partner when I'm awake? Would I show up more
100%.
regulated? Right. Yeah. And I'd have more bandwidth to hold her storm, or
Yeah,
I'd have more rational thinking to step back from the fight and go, oh, babe, I can really see your perspective. But when we're sleep deprived, even by 3 hours, our critical thinking goes out the window.
yeah.
So it's a real tough one. It's a super tough one.
So as we transition this podcast to our new branding around playing the long game, I guess what would you say to your 20-year-old self if you could have said back then about playing the long game with sleep and the impact it's going to have? And when as your 20-year-old self that you wouldn't have given a shit what you're going to say to yourself, how would you have really impacted this into your own head?
You know why I shake my head and I sigh? Is because I don't think he would have listened anyway.
Yeah. So
I heard it.
this is the thing, like, could you have done anything to have made him listen?
Nope.
Except for maybe show him yourself exactly in maybe 25 years' time of what? I mean,
I
saying that you're a
even
bit of a handsome young devil anyway, so he probably wouldn't have still listened anyway. But
I think I look better these days than then.
yeah,
I genuinely don't know. I
yeah,
really believe because I know there was a particular point in time I got really triggered by Steve Jobs, and he came out, in his final years, maybe his final year, and he said, what is if someone had said to you, can you write a book and write the one thing that would change your world? Almost the
yeah.
same question you just asked me. And he said, I'd meditate more. And I snapped. I'm like, I said, you sell out just because you've made your money. You don't want us to have all the success by working hard. And I was 40 odd years old at this time,
Wow,
and so
that's
my,
huge.
knowing myself, I'm unfortunately I learned by experience.
Yeah,
I have to burn my fingers,
yeah.
otherwise, I've even got this thing. Someone says to me, "Oh, that's a really shit movie." I will go and see that movie because I'm like, I don't want your opinion. I
Mm,
want that opinion.
mm.
So I'll go watch the shit movie, and sometimes I've been pleasantly surprised. I'm like, I don't know what you're watching, but I enjoyed it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. Like, how can we? That's a great question. Like, so I can hypothetically answer it and say, um, find an elder. How many have I got? Can I give you?
Well, I mean, I think summary, like you got to learn the lesson yourself, right? Like there's
I've got to learn
no
the
matter
lesson
what.
myself, and I can't want it for you more than like if I'm trying to teach you, Jay.
Yeah,
All I can do is be the example of what to be,
yeah.
or a lesson of what not to be.
But unless
But
you're ready
you
or
know,
want to hear it, it's pointless explaining it, right? Really?
yeah, you've got to want it, and
Yeah,
you've got to be asking for it, and at that point, you're ready.
yeah,
Um, and for me, I had to burn out. I had to
yeah,
lose everything,
yeah.
um, and so that's the sad thing. So
Which is the
I wish I
story we
could hear them
hear
talk.
time and time again, right? It's the same story. Like, when do you learn the lesson? It's when the shit hits the fan, and then it's what how you recover from that, and the things you put in place from learning the lessons that makes all the difference.
I think it was Dr. Zach Bush. Do you know Zach Bush at
No.
all? I love that man. Like his philosophy, his way of life, his essence, his being, and he's got the world's sexiest voice for a man. I got a man
Okay.
crush on this guy. And I was listening to him yesterday, and he said, why did we choose this experience, right? As a soul who is
Yeah.
an infinite being that has no pain. It is in the highest point of singularity, right? As a soul, we chose to come down to this dimension. And he said he believes that we chose to come to feel.
Mm.
I chose, as a soul, as this soul, me, came to
Yeah.
choose to feel what it is like to lose everything, what
Mm.
it is like to go through sleep deprivation. But I also chose what is the deepest level of love. I
Yeah.
also chose what is the deepest level of recovery.
Mm.
I also chose what is this new way of life. Like, I truly believe that in that window where I died, I call it death because it was a death across all pillars of life. It was um, two lives in one body. And if you look at me today, and then you go look at people who goes, that's not even you.
Mm.
You don't even look like that.
Yeah.
When they look at that old version of me, they're like, no, it's not you. It doesn't even sound like you.
Yeah.
Don't you dare bring a photo up.
I'm
That you were going to bring it.
you got me. You got me. I was literally looking at editing a short of us a few days ago of you, like a year or two ago, a year and a half ago, when you had your sort of big beard and you look like a different human. That was only a year and a half ago.
You should have seen what it looked, the gap
Yeah,
between 8 years ago and today.
yeah,
Doesn't look like the same person. So I believe that's what I came here for, is
yeah,
to not get that silver bullet at 20.
yeah,
I came here for the experience of that death
yeah,
and that experience of the love that I could feel after it. And because I didn't feel love before that.
yeah.
So,
I saw I saw a post the other day about someone saying, to have a long-term relationship is to have like 100 funerals or something like that.
oh, wow.
Like
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
hundred deaths and rebirths of who you are as you grow
Yeah.
together. It's just, those long-term relationships. Yeah, and it's the
Yeah.
same like with yourself, a long-term relationship with yourself. Obviously, you have 100 funerals of who you used to be, and then coming up from those flames and recreating.
And I think the beautiful thing there is, can we not mourn that death? Because I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's in Spanish and Mexican cultures they celebrate death.
Yeah.
It's a
Absolutely.
festive season. They celebrate the life actually.
Yeah.
And I've got that. Like, I love that I've got to where I am, and I can't wait to see how many more times I die,
Yeah.
because each one has been an evolution. Each one has been a beautiful change in the direction of my soul. Truly knows what it was here for,
Yeah.
and each one is just this up leveling and up leveling, and I love it more and more.
Mm.
And can we not shame ourselves for who we used to be? I mean, yeah, it's cringeworthy when I look back at the photos, but can we not shame that former life, because we wouldn't be here without it?
100%. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. So there's so much magic in that statement, of who we used to be, giving gratitude to that. And of course, with learning that journey, if you're going through, a coaching experience, if you're releasing trauma, learning to love that part that was traumatized, learning to support that experience is so profound. And often people go that next step of, forgiving the person that put the trauma on them in their old story. And often that's when the magic happens of letting go of that depth of the story towards the perpetrator, towards themselves letting themselves down, towards
Yeah.
themselves putting themselves in that opportunity, in that situation. But the truth is, without those things happening, the magic of today, of who you are today and how you're choosing to step up to represent yourself, the things that you're choosing to create, to raise the vibration, to bring that magic out to humanity, would have never have been created.
100%. Yeah.
Mm.
It's hard for people to probably grasp that
Yeah.
when they are in the trauma or in the feelings of the trauma. When you look at the work of John DeMartini, where, he's just saying, when you can only see one side, when you're conscious to one side of it, you're unconscious to the benefits.
Yeah.
So when you're in the drawback or the pain, it's just that you haven't realized yet how beneficial this was to you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that anyone's trauma is small or insignificant or should not be appreciated and loved. However, there's always a benefit, because the world we live in is in duality, and
Yeah.
we're conscious to one side of it. And the fastest way to mastery is to harness both sides
Mm.
of the equation, to come back to neutrality, where it was just like always divinely aligned and
Yeah.
right on time, like right where you're meant to be in that moment. It couldn't have been any other
Exactly.
way.
Yeah.
And then you can move to a space of love, and that's where the real space of gratitude for that event, which is sin. That in itself is the paradox, right?
Yeah.
This traumatic event, how could I ever love that? But when you do get to the space, and so many people have that have gone before you, when you do get to that space of love and gratitude, your heart blows open,
Mm-hmm.
and you become 10 times the person you could have been by holding onto just one side of that coin.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. You said before that you've been pushing since February this year, and it's now
Mm,
August. And
yeah.
with all your wisdom, you've just now taken this time to have this week off. But you said you've now looking back, you've had some signs over the last few weeks and maybe months that possibly you missed along the way to get to this point where you had to call it and be like, no, I've got to go now. And it became kind of the red flag came up. So that's kind of what I was saying a second ago. But with all your experience on that,
Mm.
you still make mistakes. We still make mistakes, right? So for those warning signs, sounds kind of obvious, but how did you miss it? How did you miss that this time?
Yeah, I breached my boundaries. My boundaries is every 3 months, take a week off.
So having boundaries around that is a way to enforce this more.
Honoring the boundaries. So my
Yeah,
boundary is every 3 months. And where it crept up on me was, originally I started on this sort of upward trajectory in February,
yeah,
and it crept up on me. It wasn't full throttle from day one. It took me till May to go full throttle. And so I've really gone from May, June, July. So I'm a month over, really overdue.
yeah,
Um, and so yeah, the signs that came up for me was increased energy, increased enthusiasm, a lot more intensity,
Mm,
but then it just keeps spooling and self-fulfilling prophecy. It spins up and up and up.
yeah,
And that's is you realize too much of a good thing is never a good thing,
yeah,
right? And so everything in moderation really does work. And now when I sense that, I said it last week, and um, I made the decision on Friday night. No, I'm going to go away, and I'm going to go away this weekend.
yeah,
And by the time I got home from dinner, I'd changed my mind. I'm like, no, one more week, and I should have gone last week, truthfully. But for whatever reason, I made it happen this week. And there was one or two projects I wanted to close out on. And yeah, the telltale sign is for me, and everyone's probably going to have their own nuance to it, but I equate it back to that bike riding experience.
yeah,
When I get that in adrenaline and that push, and I get fire in my eyes,
mm,
I'm like, is this real? Is it really my truth? Or is this my body saying, here's a shot of adrenaline, get home safely
yeah,
now? We'll call an ambulance on it. And I have that real visceral experience of like, I don't want to go there again.
yeah,
And so literally I pulled the pin and overnight, and I just sent a broadcast message to everyone in the team and said, I'm out. I've got a lot of support from this one in Tim Ferriss when he wrote the 4 Hour Work Week.
yeah,
They went through a very challenging window in one of his businesses. It was about to collapse. And when that happened, and it did sort of was a cataclysmic moment, everyone went into chaos. So there was infighting, there was arguing, there was chaos, there was drama. The office was in a shit show. He checked out and went and sat on an island for 4 days.
mm,
And he sat. He just literally sat, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go sit in nature. I'm going to go sit on the sand. And he sat there for 4 days. And on the fourth day, he had a light bulb moment just by sitting in stillness and sitting in nature. So when the day was done, he went back to the office the next day on the fifth day, pointed to one thing and said, "Just do that." And not only did it rectify the problem, it catapulted the business into the next stratosphere.
yeah,
And so I had that vision as well. Someone who'd gone before me that is very celebrated. Tim Ferriss is very celebrated in the business community.
yeah,
Um, and that book I sort of pulled it from. And so now that I'm a lot more regulated and I love myself a lot more, I can listen to those wisdoms from other people,
yeah,
where before I boo-hooed Steve Jobs. Now I can pull it in because I'm a lot more regulated. And I didn't get to that tipping point of, oh, I need to sleep. But I also upped I went and got all my vitamins
yeah,
on IV. I got a full dose of all of the vitamins at high dose. So high dose vitamin C, glutathione, all of the good stuff. Sat
yeah,
there for 2 hours getting a drip put in. My first day here, I donated blood. Gave it 450 mils of blood to thin my blood out because
mm,
it was thick, right? And so I love this. I don't know if you've given blood, but I'm sitting there as the blood's going out, and I'm sending love to whoever's receiving it. I'm like,
beautiful.
every pump of my hand was like this infusion of my healing love and energy, and I'm like, use this Superman blood to heal yourself. Get back on, like, come out and lift cars, like. And
Yeah,
I was just felt so good to give in that way,
yeah,
and I was receiving in the same breath. Like,
yeah,
it was beneficial to me as well.
yeah,
Um,
wow,
and I use it as an anti-aging technique, as like
yeah,
I give the blood away so
yeah,
I can regenerate my own new, fresh, thinner blood
wow,
that's healthier,
yeah,
been basically rebirthed. So
mm,
every 3 months, I'm doing that now, and I love that. Came to Koh Samui to do that because they don't have a lot of supplies here,
okay,
and they're reliant upon whatever comes to the hospital. And I
yeah,
think they said, I think they get about 20 people a day, maybe
wow,
at best, with
yeah,
blood. So that was really cool. And so these little things of like, okay, after this podcast, switch off the phone
yeah,
and all tech.
beautiful.
And you will not have to, sorry, you get to honor that. Like if you
And you got off
don't,
social media last year, right? Like you're not on socials so much. No.
no, I've got my accounts on socials, and
Yeah.
I just use it to see what the guys are posting and see what their
Yeah.
content looks like.
Yeah.
No, I'm not on there. No,
Great.
yeah,
I
can't
think.
find me anyway. I've hidden
Yeah.
my my
you're hidden.
profiles. Yeah.
The one of the biggest hacks that I ever learned about what you said, that organization of prioritizing that time, if it's not done ahead of time, I will be way more likely to prioritize something else.
Yep.
So I'm now starting to create my schedule for 2026. It's August. And my non-negotiable is that by Christmas, before Christmas Day, I want my schedule mapped out for next year of my time off.
Yep.
So that's just feels huge. You can feel the monumentalness of that, and penciling in, like, if it's going to be, say, a week off every 3 months, literally having a week blocked out in your schedule. For me as well, traveling overseas and being in Fiji and those sorts of things, having those chunks off is so awesome. And this year I've learned, the hard way a few times. I missed the Easter holiday. I had that sort of planned out, but work got in the way and I kept working through, missed that time. So, that's something for next year. And it's like once those things are in there, you start planning and working around them and for them. So you're literally saving money or whatever in different ways to get through that period, or not booking clients or whatever it is in that period. So planning for the next year, making sure that the next year's schedule of time off, specifically time off, is booked in the schedule, non-negotiable for that year ahead, and sticking and committing to that.
It's committing to it. That's really important, because you can put it in your diary and you can easily run over it. I did that. So I meant to have 1 day off a week, which is no tech.
Yeah.
So it's a micro, no tech day. And then you've got your quarterly week off. But I ran over the weekly one. I was like, no, I'm too busy at the moment. And that's a cue. If you're doing that, you're in a reactive state, which my fight or flight nervous system, and too much time in that space is going to lead to a eventual burnout.
Yeah.
Because you're not meant to be like this the whole time.
100%.
You're actually meant to be like,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So on that note, go and be like that, Mike. Thank you for making the time to speak with us today. You're a champion, and some exciting things coming up for this podcast over the upcoming weeks and months. I'll put some things in motion around that, but go and get some rest, mate. Appreciate you, and we'll speak to you next week.
Love you, brother. See you soon.
Love you, brother. Thank you.